From stunning sculptures and artwork to insanely clever robots, join me as we take a look at the most amazing LEGO creations ever made. The LEGO Mobile. Perhaps a job that most 9-year-olds would fantasize about, the Legoland model shop team literally made a living by building LEGO. Day in, day out, they craft the most mind-boggling LEGO creations imaginable, which eventually make their way into Legoland and LEGO stores. And while building LEGO is, of course, very serious work, these guys still allow plenty of room for fun, or dare I say, pranks. It was back in 2011, and the model shop team at Legoland in California were hard at work on refurbishing a life-size model of a Volvo XC90, which, FYI, had been built back in 2004 using a mind-blowing 201,076 bricks, meaning the car weighed in at an even more mind-blowing 3,000 pounds. However, while the car was under refurbishment, the model shop supervisor, Tim Pecci, noticed how similar it was to the general manager Peter Ronchetti's Volvo XC60. Well, one thing led to another, and the team colluded to prank Peter by replacing his car with the LEGO model. With ninja-like stealth, they swiped Peter's car keys, shifted it out of sight, and plopped the LEGO model in its place. Then it was just a matter of waiting for the pranky to notice his car, or rather, lack thereof, which, as you can see, he took their harmless mischief in good spirit. The biggest prank I ever pulled on my boss is when I described myself as hard-working and enthusiastic on my resume. Ha! Psych! A life-size LEGO car replica is, without a doubt, impressive. Though with it being merely a model and possessing no functionality, it does leave you wondering whether an actual working car made from LEGO could be possible. Well, wonder no more, as the seemingly impossible feat was achieved when LEGO made not only a drivable car from their bricks, but a beastly Bugatti Chiron. Yep, a literal functioning car made entirely from LEGO bricks. And with the finest of details covered, including the Bugatti badge, this LEGO supercar is virtually indistinguishable from the real thing. That is, barring its speed. But just take a look at it in action. Okay, so not quite the 261 miles per hour top speed of the original, but 19 miles per hour is pretty good going for LEGO nonetheless. But what exactly is going on under the hood? Well, as I'm sure you can tell, it isn't made from your standard issue bricks, but actually LEGO Technics. Now, throughout the video, you'll hear me refer to LEGO Technics a lot. So it's useful to note that LEGO Technics is a LEGO range specifically designed to be used for complex mechanisms that can be implemented in builds such as vehicle models and machines. To enhance this, there is also another range called LEGO Power Functions, which, for all intents and purposes, are motors, batteries, lights, and essentially anything that can inject a little bit of power into your LEGO creations. In order to build this beastly Bugatti, the team used over 1 million Technic pieces, 56 of which had to be custom made for the project and involved some 13,500 man-hours. Beneath the hood, you can find a staggering 2,304 LEGO Power Functions powered by a pair of batteries that get this hot rod rolling. And while the team tried to remain honest to building the car entirely from LEGO, there were some parts that needed to be made from differing materials. Not only was a steel frame essential to support all 1.5 tons of it, but they also used genuine Bugatti wheels too, as wheels made of the plastic blocks just weren't viable. And just as a side note, did you know that LEGO are technically the world's largest tire manufacturer? Albeit the tiny ones. Prosthetic LEGO. It's easy to assume that LEGO is merely child's play. I mean, if I had a penny for every time I had this same argument with my mom. However, besides the $469 LEGO Hogwarts castle that she refuses to buy me for Christmas, LEGO can actually be used in some pretty profound ways. Meet David Aguilar. David has a condition known as Poland syndrome, which affects the development of muscles and limbs, and so he was born with an underdeveloped right arm. But when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Or in David's case, he made Legonade. At 9 years old, David was obsessed with LEGO and would skillfully use his limited dexterity to play with the plastic bricks, just like any other kid his age. But it was then that David came up with the novel idea of making himself a prosthetic arm from LEGO. And while he made a great attempt, his limited supplies and knowledge meant that the prosthetic was neither functional nor durable. It would be another 9 years later when, at the age of 18, David made his first official LEGO prosthetic, or as he called it, the MK1. Made from the LEGO Technics range, David was able to create a full-size, semi-functioning prosthetic arm. Completely manual, the mechanism essentially works similar to this prototype, whereby raising his affected arm contracts the elbow, which then tightens two cords that run down to the fingers and create a pincer-like motion, allowing him to grab things. But despite the innovativeness of it, the manual nature of it relied heavily on the limited strength of David's affected arm, making it quite tiring to use. Not only that, but he was only able to grab things when his elbow contracted. Since then, David has created another 4 iterations of his LEGO arm. The latest being the MK5, which, thanks to LEGO Power Functions, is a motorized 5-fingered model that is controlled by David, making small movements in his upper arm, meaning he can rely on the motors to do all the heavy lifting for him. And with his knowledge and passion for the cause, it's not surprising that David has gone on to study bioengineering at university, with an ambition to one day make prosthetic arms that are affordable and accessible for those in need. I mean, I have 2 fully working arms and even I want one. LEGO Loom. In the ever-evolving modern world, it can be easy to take the most crucial inventions for granted, like the humble loom machine, for example. If you don't know what this is, it's a device that's used to weave cloth and tapestry. And back in the days of old, cloth had to be painstakingly hand-woven thread by thread. However, with the mechanical power loom introduced during the Victorian era, cloth was easily mass-produced. And while that might have been groundbreaking for them at the time, technology is now so advanced that you can even make one of these bad boys out of LEGO. You really have to see it to believe it. There really isn't anything LEGO can't do. With the help of LEGO Technics and Power Functions, mechanical engineer and LEGO extraordinaire Nicholas Lespoor created this working power loom. Through a symphony of complex cogs and interlocking layers, Nicholas's loom slowly but surely weaves together several threads into a piece of cloth, proving that LEGO Technics and Power Functions can be extremely capable tools in his engineering. His innovation even inspired fellow LEGO master and YouTuber Demair to create a LEGO loom machine, which you can see is just as impressive. But just a quick shout out to our pal Nicholas, be sure to head on over to his channel afterwards, that is Nico71's LEGO Technic Creations. I popped the link down in the description so that you can check out a bunch of his other amazing LEGO creations. I'll never let go, Jack! Considering that the original Titanic was made of steel and wrought iron, and we all know how that ended, it probably wouldn't be such a great idea to build another Titanic made from LEGO, no matter how tough those things might seem when you step on them. Though the next best thing might just be this scaled-down replica made by 10-year-old Brynja Carl Biggesen. Yep, back in 2013, 101 years after the original sank, Brynja, who has autism, built the world's largest Titanic LEGO replica, measuring at a gigantic 26 feet long, 5 feet tall, and 4 feet wide. It really is one amazing feat which required around 700 hours of work over the course of 11 months. That isn't so long when you consider the real ship took around 26 months to build. Thanks to Brynja's grandfather scaling down the ship's original blueprint, they were able to figure out roughly how many bricks they needed, which, all in all, was 56,000. And with that in mind, it's no surprise that Brynja's model is both detailed and accurate. Well, that is barring Darth Vader as a passenger. Boy, that would have made for a very different movie. Brynja's feat has garnered so much attention, he's even done a TED Talk on his autism, explaining while his condition means he can achieve incredible feats like this, he also struggles to communicate and socialize, so often finds himself alone. Well, not so alone, because he has his Lego bricks, which he described as his best friends. Now that's the power of Lego. Legona Lisa. For someone who's a 6 at best, Mona Lisa has remarkably become a representation of beauty. And while she's been knocking around since 1503, she continues to be a muse for artworks far and wide, including those of the Lego variety. Behold, the Legona Lisa, a 6 by 8 feet mosaic replica of the famous work created by self-proclaimed independent brick builder Eric Harshbarger. His impressive Da Vinci dupe required a staggering 30,000 bricks in total. Not only is his rendition virtually identical to the original, but it also impressively uses only the 6 basic Lego colors: black, blue, green, red, white, and yellow. Which, as you can see, his clever technique of speckling red bricks throughout the whole piece creates the illusion of more shades and provides depth. To achieve this, Eric used a studs-out approach, which, for those of you who aren't versed in the technical jargon of Lego mosaics, means the Lego bricks were faced with their ridges upwards. This is opposed to the stud-up technique where the bricks are pieced together in the traditional way. And while there may only be one priceless original of the Mona Lisa, Eric has actually created 2 of his mosaics, the first one being a commission and the second as part of a trade show exhibit. But on to more pressing matters. Someone should have really told Mona that no eyebrows ain't a good look, girl. Lego Grand Piano. Being a chordal instrument that has 7 octaves that span across 88 keys, the piano is often considered the foremost instrument in Western music. And nothing exudes elegance quite like a polished ebony grand piano. Trouble is, one can easily send you back tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands. Luckily, Lego might have the solution. Okay, so for a bit of context, Lego runs a scheme called Lego Ideas, an online platform where fans can submit their original ideas for new Lego sets. Should their post get at least 10,000 supporters, then there's a chance that Lego will consider manufacturing their design as an official set. And it was in 2019 that piano teacher and Lego fanatic Donnie Chen came up with the idea of building a scaled-down functioning grand piano from Lego. With the idea in hand, Donnie first designed the model and then bought all the pieces online so that he can construct it. And it had all the trappings of a real grand piano, from the opening lid, internal strings, and moving foot pedals, to even moving keys with a realistic hammer action that functioned mechanically the same as the real deal. Not only that, but with the help of Lego power functions, Donnie was even able to make the piano keys play by themselves. Check it out. Incredible, huh? With its detail and accuracy, it's no surprise that Lego commissioned Donnie's design, which you can buy now for $400. Even made of plastic, that's pretty pricey for a grand piano. However, adding their own Lego signature, they elevated Donnie's idea and engineered a way to make the piano make sound when connected to a smartphone. Take a listen to it in action. Bravo! Bravo! This is so going on my Christmas list. Bricks and breakfast. Picture the scene. You're lying in bed, light peeking through your window, when the sumptuous aroma of sizzling bacon fills the room. You follow the smell down to the kitchen, thinking maybe your mom has stopped by to cook you breakfast, only to find that there's a Lego robot cooking in your kitchen. Sounds like the stuff of science fiction, but it turns out it's actually possible for Lego to make your breakfast for you. Don't believe me? Well, take a look for yourself. We really are living in the future. This culinary contraption was cooked up by Lori Petikov, who was inspired by his dad, who makes them a cooked breakfast every weekend. Made with Lego Technics and powered by Lego functions, you simply need to load it with ingredients so the bacon goes here and the eggs go here, and sit back while it does all the hard work. Well, kinda. You see, complete automation, as Lori explained, would have been pretty difficult to achieve logistically. Not least hazardous, what with it operating by an open stove. So for that reason, the robot is remote controlled. Still, breakfast made by a Lego robot is undeniably awesome. But if you're not in the mood for eggs and bacon, then how about pancakes? Yep, seems like there's a whole menu of things Lego can whip up. Made by Lego guru and devoted father Miguel, the idea came after his daughter Lily asked him to make a pancake machine. Not one to disappoint, 6 months later, Miguel exhibited a Lego robot that not only made pancakes, but squeezed them out into fancy shapes too. Take a look. Pretty neat, huh? Using Lego Technics, power functions, and machine programming, Miguel's contraption simply needed to be placed over a hot plate where it could autonomously squeeze out crowd-pleasing pancakes. Fair to say that Miguel is definitely in the running for Daddy of the Year. I kinda wish he was my daddy. Okay, let's move on. Brick Hive. They may look simple on the outside, but the inner workings of a beehive are an incredibly complex operation. Bees are traditionally kept in what are known as Langstroth hives, and consist of different dedicated sections which all have to be specially separated in order for the hive to raise its brood and make its honey separately. Now, wood is what's typically used to construct these hives, but it turns out Lego can work just as well.
We can see frames or wooden frames I have inside the Lego beehive, and we can see right here on this one the queen has moved up. Yeah, it's brilliant. The queen has moved up onto there, so what you're looking at there is some brood on the bottom of that, and that has been covered.
Created by seasoned beekeeper Rory O'Leocane from Ireland, you'll find that his Lego beehive has all the sectioning and trappings of a traditional one, allowing his colony to thrive. However, internally he did use conventional wooden frames so that his bees could easily create their comb, which is where all that succulent honey is made. And Rory isn't the only one to make a hive from Lego. Check out this one made by the aptly named beekeeper Boaz. Just like Rory, Boaz's bees are housed in a Lego abode kitted out with the traditional frames, allowing them to do their business. The possibilities of Lego truly are unbelievable. Yes, 2 consecutive dad jokes there, a new personal best. Sean Kenny. By this point, it's probably quite clear that pretty much anything is possible with Lego. but almost everything we've seen so far pales in comparison to the many works of Sean Kenny. From life-size animals and people to detailed replicas of landmarks, it seems there's nothing Sean can't turn his hand to. I mean, just check out his 7¼ foot tall rendition of the Eiffel Tower. Comprising of 67,470 Lego bricks, Sean's Eiffel Tower technically has more pieces than the real one, which only had 18,000 pieces. Ha! Take that, France! In one of his most famous collections titled Nature Connects, Sean displays his virtuosity through a series of nature-driven designs such as this ginormous bee, gardeners at work, and this stunning peacock, among a ton of other incredible sculptures, mosaics, and designs. With his creativity and eye for extreme detail, it's no surprise that he now commissions his pieces, meaning he gets to make Lego for a living. Now that's the American dream. Though it wasn't always this way, he actually made his start as a graduate in computer science, philosophy, and visual arts, going on to become a published cartoonist. However, for the last 15 years, Sean has been producing his contemporary Lego sculptures for the likes of major corporations, department stores, TV shows, and even celebrities. And with his work being in all corners of the world from the US to Australia, if you're lucky enough, you might just happen to stumble upon one of his sculptures in the flesh. Or rather, Lego. Shape-shifting shadows. Okay, so we've seen some extraordinary Lego creations so far, though perhaps none in my opinion as calculated as this next one. Created by John V. Montine, at a glance you might assume his Lego sculptures are just messy clusters of bricks. But that, my friends, is where you'd be wrong. You see, when backlit, this seemingly messy cluster actually projects an unexpectedly awesome shadow design. And when the model is rotated, the shadow seamlessly shapeshifts into another icon. From an airplane to a fire-breathing dragon to a butterfly. Being a spectroscopist, which is someone who studies the absorption and emission of light, John was able to create a detailed 3D image of the sculpture in a simulated light test before actually building his incredible creation. Once he had digital proof the design could work, he got to work building the complex design brick by brick. Because of how specific the design had to be to create 3 distinct shadows, he couldn't put one block wrong. Which is insanely difficult when you realize that the final form doesn't really resemble any one thing at all. And yet, this formless mishmash of shapes is able to create the most incredible shadow display I've ever seen. I know he's a spectroscopist, but I think we should all call John a shadow master. Nathan Sawaya. When we think of classic sculptures, you might think of those statuesque men with tiny peepees chiseled from marble. However, these days in the world of fine art, Lego is just as valid a medium as any other. Introducing the work of Nathan Sawaya. With a keen focus on the human form, Nathan often explores profound philosophical themes throughout his work. Take for example one of his most famous pieces, Yellow. The contemporary mustard sculpture shows a man tearing his chest open as a flood of Lego bricks burst out, which, fun fact, actually made its way into Lady Gaga's music video for her song G.U.Y. Similarly, another piece called Gray shows a man tearing through a wall of gray, or better yet, this one called Redhead, which shows a man pulling off his head. He even explores more abstract themes, such as this series of figures with 3D shaped heads. What any of these actually mean is definitely open to interpretation, though I like to imagine they inspired the masks in Netflix's Squid Game. Come on, it's uncanny. Anyway, he does plenty more than just create the human body out of Lego. In fact, one of my favorite pieces of his is this model of a cello, which he made back in 2009. After being inspired by cellist Yo-Yo Ma, he challenged himself to build a cello, which in the end required approximately 7,000 Lego bricks. But of all his creations, one of the most impressive has to be this full-scale replica of Central Park from the TV show Friends, that he made in collaboration with fellow Lego artist Brandon Griffith. Using a finger-busting total of 973,028 Lego bricks, the pair sculpted the iconic Central Park right down to the finest details. I mean, what's not to like? Friends? Good. Details? Good. Lego? Great. Lego Liftoff. So far, we've already seen a few Lego machines, a breakfast and pancake maker, and a fabric weaver. But what's cooler? Well, this next Lego contraption that can build and fly paper planes. It all started back in 2015 with the company Aero Electronics that manufactures and distributes technology for aviation and space travel. They commissioned Brazilian robotics builder Arthur Sasek to build a fully autonomous paper plane maker made only from Lego. Not only that, but he had just 4 days to construct the whole thing. Like many of the other Lego machines we've seen, Arthur's paper plane maker required Lego Technics and Lego functions, not to mention months of calculations, programming, and sleepless nights. But in the end, it seems it was all worth it. I mean, just take a look at it in action. As you can see, a piece of A4 paper is fed into the machine via rubber wheels. Hydraulic panels then fold the top corners of the paper, and the burgeoning paper plane is then pushed through the rollers and then straightened, ready to take flight. The plane is then finally catapulted with a perfect glide every time. Finally, technology that addresses the real problems that society faces. The world's tallest Lego tower. As children, I'm sure at some point most of us attempted to make the tallest tower we could from Lego. Though most, I'm sure, would peak at around 4 feet, as our little arms couldn't reach much further than that. With that in mind, it's pretty mind-blowing to think that the world record for tallest Lego tower teetered at 114 foot and 11 inches. That's roughly the same height as a 10-story building. But who had the time, manpower, or incentive to attempt this? Well, back in 2015 in Milan, the Lego Store Italy set out to thwart the previous efforts of the Lego Store Hungary, who, the previous year, had built a Lego tower that was 114 foot and 0.5 inches. But the Lego Italian Stallion wasn't just about flexing. Lego actually pledged to donate €7 to charity for every centimeter built, which totaled at €24,850. That's $26,000. But while Lego Italy might have the official world record, there was actually another Lego tower in Tel Aviv, Israel that claimed it was 117 feet and 11 inches, 35 inches taller than Milan's. The project happened in 2017 in memorial of Omer Sayag, an 8-year-old boy who passed away in 2014. Thousands of people from 24 different community organizations worked on constructing different sections of the tower using a total of around 500,000 Lego bricks. But despite their incredible efforts, there was no Guinness World Record representative at the scene to corroborate the measurement, meaning that Tel Aviv's tower is unfortunately not officially the world's tallest Lego tower. But it's the thought that counts, right? Episode 4: A New Lego. Star Wars and Lego, a cinematic classic and a childhood favorite toy that together have rendered generations of grown men celibate. But back in 2013, when the two forces collided, it resulted in what is officially the world's largest Lego model ever created. Yep, weighing in at a beastly 45,000 pounds and measuring an enormous 43 feet long and 11 feet tall, this Lego replica of the X-Wing starfighter is astonishingly 2 feet longer than the actual one used in the movie. Which isn't surprising considering it's made of 5.3 million bricks. But this record-breaking model wasn't just built by some nerd in his mom's basement. A team of 32 people from the Czech Republic labored for 17,000 hours. Master builder Eric Varzegi explained how the model is pretty much the same design as the retail set manufactured by Lego, but around 42 times the scale. And at that scale, it actually needed a steel infrastructure built to the seismic code of California. Making its maiden voyage to New York's Times Square, the cosmic battleship soon jetted off again to Legoland, California, where it now resides. All in all, though, pretty incredible it is, no? Lego Arcade. The fun of Lego is typically the building part, considering that afterwards your Lego creation will most likely be guarded like a crown jewel. But Lego Wiz and TikToker Jules Brick City has a rather different approach. How so? Well, just check out this next clip. Pretty awesome, right? Ingeniously using Lego Technics, and Lego Power Functions, they've essentially created a real-life game console. I mean, just get a load of this version of the popular phone game Subway Surfers. That's cool. Though of all their Lego games, and trust me there's a ton, my favorite is their miniature Lego bowling alley that, just like a real one, automatically picks up the knockdown pins. Take a look. The only thing it's missing are the little barriers for those of us who always throw gutter balls. Still, it's an incredible idea that he should probably submit to the Lego Ideas Forum, in my opinion. I know I'd buy it. Lego Wall. Now, however fun the idea might sound, living in a Lego house probably wouldn't be all that fun. From constantly having to step on Lego to sitting on a Lego toilet, the whole thing would quite literally be a pain in the ass. But if you do want to add just a dash of Lego to your home, then I know just the man you need. Blurring the line between art, architecture, and, well, Lego, Dante Dintoni is a self-taught artist who creates hidden immersive Lego installations in houses. Unsurprisingly, his clever craftsmanship has captured people's attention, with his work finding its way into art exhibits such as this hidden classical concert, to even being hidden in several celebrity houses. I mean, just check out this custom installation made for Jake Paul's California home. Say what you want about Jake Paul, but that's an undeniably cool house. And it's not just his, but DJ Zed and entrepreneur David Grootman's homes too. Gee, my mom is gonna be so angry when she finds that I've taken a sledgehammer to the wall and patched it up with Lego. Lego Jet Engine. Now, if there's one thing that you would never expect to be made from Lego, it's probably a jet engine. Mainly because those things can reach temperatures of over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Needless to say, plastic, with its measly melting point of just 500 degrees Fahrenheit, wouldn't bode well. However, back in 2012, the iconic automobile manufacturer Rolls-Royce unveiled the world's first Lego replica of a jet engine. That being the Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 turbofan model, which is used on the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Recreating it down to the finest detail, the model required a staggering 152,455 standard-issue Lego and Technic bricks. And with it being a detailed replica of a literal jet engine, it's no surprise that Rolls-Royce claimed this is one of the most complex Lego creations ever made. Clearly, they've never seen Lowry's breakfast-making machine. And while the model, of course, doesn't actually function, Rolls-Royce claims that it has all the moving parts of a real jet engine. Pretty impressive, huh? The hot rod made its debut at the Farnborough Air Show, where the company hoped to capture the attention of the younger generation and hopefully engage them with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Essentially, the idea being, sure, we know science and math is boring, but look, it's made out of Lego. Alright folks, that's all from me today. I want to know down in the comments which creation wowed you the most, and also the best thing you've ever created with Lego. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.